point about what
the Detroit program using Sesame Street. If that has proven successful, to see what we could do to have a similar type program here for the free.
Since a Chamber of Commerce gathering last evening in Mineral Wells, there is some hope that Fort Wolters will remain open. A gathering of 600 persons heard Senator John Towers say there is no definite plan now to close the helicopter training base, that the announced phasing out of the complex will be re-examined, but that remains to be seen. Congressman Jim Wright told me today that Presidential Advisor Henry Kissinger said he feels that the Pentagon should reconsider the closing of Fort Wolters and that he will request such a reconsideration.
Henry Kissinger, the principal advisor to the president, told me that he had sent a rather lengthy memorandum that I had sent to him over to Secretary Laird and asked Secretary Laird to reconsider this decision. That doesn't mean that it's going to be changed, But I guess the best we can say is that the door which was closed is now slightly ajar, and we've got our foot in the door before they locked it.
200 civilian workers at Southern Airways of Texas, located on the base, have been laid off in the past 2 days, which would indicate that Southern Airways believes that Fort Wolters will close. There was mixed reaction today about the hope of keeping the base open from people on the streets in Mineral Wells.
Don't really think the will. Don't really think the will. I think there'll be a way out. I think they'll reconsider it.
Personally, it's hard to say because there is an abundance of aviators in the Army, but at the rate things are going in Vietnam, I think we'll need them, and I think it should stay open.
Your husband did receive notice?
Yes, he got laid off Friday.
And he worked for whom?
Southern Airways.
Where will you go now?
I don't know. We haven't really discussed it. We thought about going to Houston.
The consideration of the economic relation between Fort Wolters and Mineral Wells is one of the arguments to keep the base open. Maybe, if or when Fort Wolters is closed, the city of Mineral Wells could lose up to 63% of local business. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Wolters.
To try to obtain funds to direct ourselves to reaching children at an early age. As to whether we would utilize district funds to implement an expanded program with childhood education, I think we're going to have to look at the overall priorities. I personally feel this to be a high priority item, and if we are not able to get the kind of outside funding that we would need for this purpose, I would like us to look at this very closely and see if there's any possible way that we can direct ourselves to this in an effective manner.
Well, this radar was designed for WFAA is a powerful long-range radar, a range of 250 miles and a peak output power of 350 kW.
Well, Bill, what does this mean well, let's say it first in the form of range. How far do you feel that this particular radar will reach from WFAA?
Well, this radar will reach 250 miles easily. It will detect 1 millimeter per hour of rainfall at 150 nautical miles. 1 millimeter per hour would hardly be enough to turn the windshield wipers on in a car. It would be a very light rainfall, what you would probably call a trace of rain.
Isn't this a beautifully cool, refreshing sight? Gee, wasn't this a beautiful day today? You know, it's still winter on the calendar. The man says it's going to be spring here in a few days, but spring came to Dallas today. You know, when you see sights like this fountain at Ferris Plaza, looking at the Union Terminal in the background, it really makes you glad that you were alive on a day like this. It makes newsmen like ourselves feel that, well, this day had its violence, this day had its hard news stories, but that at this time in our newscast we can put those things aside for a moment, revel in the beauty of nature and the nature that man has helped make, and just kind of reflect back, say, well, we're glad the violence is over, and we're also glad that we have this kind of beauty to enjoy. It's a gorgeous day, and I, for one, am thankful for it. This is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News.